Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You could follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.9 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 2.2. We see Bitcoin 110,600 plus, 4,300 plus for Ethereum. Number 3 spot, XRP at 288. We're off 4.6 in the last 24 hours. We're up 2.4 on the 7-day, much like the rest of the market, obviously. We're waiting for this long weekend to get through here and then get Congress back in session to get the Clarity Act passed. I mean, my goodness, the days are just grinding on. But hang in there. Hang in there, everybody. We got big things coming to us. Look at this. 288, ranging between 285 and 302. Now, I said this in my first video. Mrs. Backup is home, and I will be getting more XRP, and she's not going to know about it. So that's what's happening. So let's look at this really quickly here. It is iTrustCapital's premium custody account here. I got to buy that dip. You can do it too. Look, the premium custody account, first of all, if you haven't tried the IRAs at iTrustCapital, what in the world are you waiting for? They aren't good. They're the best. The best crypto gold and silver IRAs, by the way. So don't mess around and get started on that if you haven't. If you're a new customer, you can get a $100 funding bonus. And on top of it, this new PCA, the premium custody account, is really a closed loop system. And it's done specifically. So if you're like somebody who trades assets every day and needs to move them in and out, sell and go out of your account, this isn't for you. But who this is for is the rest of us, right? And the people who are just really concerned about security and safety. I have said this since day one on my channel. I have always kept my assets split up, not all my eggs in one basket. And this is one of those safe places, safe havens for me. It has been for my IRA, and it will be for the PCA. No question about it. This right here, the closed loop system, allows you to go in with your cash and crypto, trade all the assets 24/7. But when you come out, you have to come out the cash directly to your US checking account. And the reason for that is because they're working hard at iTrust to remove the attack vector, even from our side. So SIM card swap, or you clicked on a link that you shouldn't have, and now it's a phishing link, right? Or you gave critical information to someone in a moment of lapse of reason, and then you realize, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have shared that with them. So the worst could happen if they get into your PCA is that they could cash it out and send it directly to your checking account. So that is a good feeling, and that's what I like about where I have my assets. I want to know that where I have my assets, it's trusted and it's secure. That's the number one thing first, and you're going to get it at iTrustCapital. All you have to do is click the link underneath the video, any video in fact, or go to itrustcapital.com/XRPArmy and use the code XRP6 and get started today. You're going to love it. Peace of mind is what we're looking for here. Yes, and look at this. Speaking of peace of mind, the U.S. Commodities Future Trade Commission is a U.S. financial regulator, announced on Thursday that offshore crypto exchanges now have a pathway to legally serve U.S.-based clients by registering under a Foreign Board of Trade framework. Super exciting. This is opening the door. They're preparing to let the world go and this market to soar. Oh, I love it. And then this, don't forget, I keep showing this. Ondo Finance says they're getting ready to roll out 100 plus tokenized stocks and ETFs on day one. They say it's the most expansive real world asset launch to date. This is Wall Street 2.0. Go Ondo with the hype. I'm loving it. And they're going to deliver on the hype too, by the way. And speaking of delivering on the hype, Hugo Flair talks about what he's expecting for Flair Networks when it gets going. Take a listen to this.
Hugo, with the DeFi ecosystem within XRP now starting to expand, how much do you think is going to be unlocked just this year, in the last few months of this year?
I mean, I'd like to see Flair at 5 billion XRP by mid-2026. Don't know
Okay.
about the last period of this year. Market's a bit volatile, but I'd like to see flare of 5 billion XRP.
5 billion.
Wow. Locking up 5 billion XRP on Flare could help set a floor price on the asset, along with multiple other factors like ETFs. Again, we have talked about the idea of earning yield or lending products on trusted platforms. And when those solutions are really available at scale, you're talking about unlocking the greatest idle liquidity in digital assets, which is XRP. And I tell you, allowing people to put their assets to work is going to be a huge bonus all the way around. Dom Kwok from EZA says blockchain says an approved XRP ETF, has the potential to attract the largest inflows in crypto ETF history. And I'm inclined to agree with him. And here, Nate Garazzi shares James Seifert's work here, listing all of these ETFs. Good gracious, it's a lot of them. And you know there's a considerable amount that are on the board for XRP. I'm not going to count them all, but we know it's around 20, a little less than that. But nonetheless, this is a wall of ETF floodgates about to open soon. Nate Garazzi's got it right here, and I'm super excited to see it, and I know you are too. We also know that Bitwise's Matt Hogan's talking about the ETH ETFs and how it's outpacing the Bitcoin ETF. Take a listen to this conversation with Scott
Ethereum
Melker.
crushes Bitcoin with 10x inflows. Very triggering to Bitcoin maxis, I'm sure. But I mean, it's based in actual facts.
I mean, you
And
could have
we've
made it worse.
We've got it right here.
Yeah, exactly right. You could have made it worse. You could have gone from August as infinitely more inflows because Bitcoin has outflows in August. There's a relentless bid for Ethereum ETFs. They pulled in $4 billion so far in August alone. That annualizes to close to $50 billion in a year, right? For context, Bitcoin ETFs did $36 billion in their first year. It's just a flood of money into a relatively small asset, which is why the chart looks so good. And I think it's going to continue for the rest of the year. It is the institutional attractive asset. The other day I was on with a multi-billion-dollar advisor. They didn't love Bitcoin. They wanted everything else besides Bitcoin, and they ended up just buying an Ethereum ETF because that's all they can access. I think this continues, for the rest of the year.
Wait, that's curious.
That's demand is what we're talking about there. And hang in there because we know there could be up to $8 billion in inflows headed for XRP spot ETF once it's approved. And the odds of approval just went up to 98% for 2025. And the year is clipping away very quickly. So October being the next window to look out for here. And then listen to this gentleman right here for CEO from crypto.com talk about 8 billion in inflows coming into XRP ETFs.
Next couple of years, I think altcoins that have strong flows will outperform. I don't know if you guys seen this, but there's a forecast saying that the ETF for XRP is going to attract 8 billion of inflows next year. So you can imagine what kind of impact that may have. And in terms of what we're doing, I think we have a very clear, differentiated, exciting strategy that nobody else is pursuing and nobody else can compete with us on. That's very unique. So we will build it, and I hope you guys join along for the ride.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll be right there with you. I can tell you that, Chris. I like it. Love the energy. And Stellar talking about this exciting news, bringing PayPal's PYUSD to the XLM network. Listen to Danelle Dixon right here.
This was one of the big moments of Q2. We announced that PayPal is bringing PYUSD to Stellar. What does Stellar offer PYUSD? Well, we think it offers global reach. Stellar brings PYUSD to 170 plus countries with wallets in nearly every region, turning PYUSD from movable to usable on rails built for speed and low cost.
Now, what's exciting about this beyond those factors, and shout out to Donnell Dixon and the Stellar Development Foundation, love what they're doing over there. This is exciting because you're watching a legacy company come over to these new blockchain rails. I absolutely love this. This looks to me the same as seeing Hidden Road being acquired by Ripple, right? I mean, we're just, although that's enterprise back end and this is legacy front end, right? Which goes to the long conversation that's been that XRP would serve the enterprise institution back end side of the market heavily, and XLM would serve the front side retail consumer facing side of the market. And this appears to look accurate right here. Not meaning that they would all be isolated, but that would be their general purpose, point of purpose. So I love this. This is adoption happening, ladies and gentlemen, right before our eyes. And this whole clip is great. Shout out to Riz. If you're not following Riz, why not? But let's talk about this. I'm going to, just for the sake of time here, I want to play this clip right at 3:30 where we listen to Cassie Craddock talk about, well, let's have her say it.
Of course, we started out by really focusing on moving value through XRP, and feedback from our customers was that in some scenarios their preference would be to leverage stablecoins for those payments. So the Ripple payment product that can now process from a global perspective in 90 corridors, it's done over $70 billion. There's a variation of what that looks like in terms of whether or not we're leveraging XRP or leveraging stablecoins for those payments. And it really does frankly depend on what currency and the preference of the customer. I think our goal really is to solve customer problems and to say yes more to customers. The products have the flexibility in terms of how they can deliver that last mile.
No doubt about it. That last mile is what I heard. And you know what will help with that last mile and getting that service upped and scaled up and being able to say yes more is getting that banking license, getting that Federal Reserve master account. Yeah. And what did we see? The news broke yesterday. Today, Department of Commerce announced that they will begin posting real gross domestic product, the GDP, data on the blockchain beginning in July of 2025. And here you can see that that data, the GDP data, on 9 blockchains, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Tron, Stellar, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Polygon, and Optimism, with Chainlink and Pyth as oracles. And what's important about this? You say, well, wait, I don't see Ripple. I don't see XRP Ledger anywhere. Hold on, stay with me, right? Today, this is back in June, where Ripple X announced we're partnering with Wormhole to bring multi-chain interoperability to the XRP Ledger. Okay, meaning that statement alone tells me that the XRP Ledger is market infrastructure for all the other chains to plug into for the interoperability. That's how I'm seeing that statement, right? And that's Wormhole, XRP Ledger, and Ripple, right? Stay with me. Now, sing it with me. It's a multi-chain world after all. You know what interoperability really means? Utility. That's exactly right. And then here, Wormhole is announcing a partnership with Ripple to bring multi-chain interoperability to the XRP Ledger. So they're all tied in together. This is very important because we also know that Wormhole, the U.S. Department of Commerce has selected Wormhole ecosystem team, Pyth Network, which is listed, to verify and publish economic data on-chain with all multi-chain data interoperability powered by Wormhole. So to me, what I see is a Ripple partner, right, serving this interoperability with multiple chain data to all these other 9 chains via XRP Ledger underneath it all. That's what I'm seeing. Now, if you're seeing it different, I want you to tell me what you're seeing and we'll take a look at it. But that's what I'm seeing here. So we're not counted out. We're still in. Remember, XRP Ledger is a market infrastructure play, just like TCP/IP protocol of the Internet of Information we're currently using today. And that tells me that all of this is so much bigger than just a stockpile reserve or a strategic reserve or anything else. What we're talking about is the tokenization of traditional finance and everything of value, including every department of the US government that we just covered. That's what's coming. That is the larger part of the investor play in this market from where I'm standing. Now, it's not financial advice from me or anyone else, but I like where I'm standing. As I said the other day, the crap is about to hit the fan, but for the first time in my life, I'm standing behind the fan instead of in front of it. All right, that's going to do it for me. Wishing everybody a happy Friday. Buy the dip if you can. Not financial advice. I know I'm going to, and then I'm going to catch hell about it, but that's okay because that's the way it works until it doesn't. So that's where we're at. Have a great weekend. I'll catch all of you on the next one.